Northamptonshire twins Scarlett and Eliza Humphrey have both received their first Paralympic call-ups to the Team GB swimming squad. We are so excited to share their incredible story as they prepare for their Paralympic debuts in Paris. So could you start by just telling me about your sight loss journey so far?
Yeah, okay. So I'm Eliza.
And I'm Scarlett,
And we both have Leber's congenital amaurosis, so LCA, and nystagmus.
This is congenital, so we had it from birth, and so we've always been on the lower end of visual impairment, so quite severely sight impaired. So we, when we were younger, we were able to see light, dark colour and all that, but then contrasting colours and stuff. And then when we got older, into our teens, then we lost that. So we were initially classified in the sport world as a low end B2. So, and then when we were in our teens, we lost light perception and stuff, so we became B1.
Okay.
So now we see nothing at all. Yeah.
When did you begin swimming, and when did you decide to compete?
Our parents first took us to learn to swim programs at our local leisure centre, so it could be safe around water. I can't remember what age. What do you know?
I think it was just like when you're generally young.
Yeah,
so
just like in general. Yeah.
But the learn to swim wasn't very good, for our needs of VI, because
they had group sessions. Well, once you get to pass a stage, I can't remember which one. They have instructors on the side of the pool, and then they just demonstrate.
Swim like this and go over there, and which is not very useful. But so we struggled with that. So our instructor was quite good actually, and she
said at the time we were like,
she said this isn't working and you're falling behind. So we did 2 to 1. 2 to 1 was just us in the class with her once a week. So we did that, and then she said, so mum was like, I just want to swim 50 metres just so you could be safe. She said, you could go to the Paralympics one day, you know. So she was like,
oh, that's a bit.
So she was like, I wanted to go to the Paralympics. So we were like, oh, okay. So we just did learn to swim, because this one we couldn't actually swim.
No.
So we did a bit.
The Paralympics was definitely very, very far off, because we couldn't even swim a length at that point.
And so then
we were like, what? So she was like, well, we can always just try.
So then we went in 2015. She said, oh, why don't you try a competition, see if you like it. So we did the British Blind Sports Youth Swimming Gala. So we did the 25.
Explain what that's called.
So it's like for children who are 3 to 17 who who can compete from 25 metre races to 100 metres.
Okay. All kinds of British blind sport.
Yeah, and so we did that. We did the 25 metre backstroke, 25 metre freestyle, and 50 back, and we enjoyed it. We really enjoyed it. So we never competed before, and we're quite competitive anyway against each other. So we enjoyed it.
It's a nice introduction to galas as well, because it's quite a relaxed gala. It's open to anyone, so all abilities. So from people who take us seriously swimming, or through to people like us who wanted just to start and see what competitive swimming is all about.
Just an introduction.
Yeah, so it's just really good.
Yeah, you didn't have to have any knowledge of diving or anything, just starting the water and stuff like that.
So and then from there we got signposted to our local swimming club, which is Northampton Swimming Club, and then we entered their Learn to Swim programme again, and then we moved from there in about 2016 to their competitive swimming programme, and since then we've moved through their competitive swimming programme. So through that we just increased our fitness, our skills, and then from there you increase the competitions you go to. So you start at junior levels of open meets, just club championships, and then you go to counties, regionals, and then you go to nationals.
You go to swimming ones.
Then you go to swimming and
home program
meet, and then that's 2019. We went to
home program,
and then you go to national level and then international level. So you just work up the different levels.
Right. It's a lot of swimming.
Yeah. You get your hours in. We do 17 and a half hours a week.
Wow.
Yeah.
I understand you race in the S11 category. What does that mean?
So in Paralympic sport, there are 14 classifications. Paraswimming, sorry, yeah. S1 to S10 are for those with a physical impairment, with S1 being the most impaired to S10 being the least severely impaired.
I see.
And then in S11 to S13 are for those with visual impairments, S11 being the most impaired, S13 being least impaired, S11 and S13 and S12, and they all equate to the B1, B2, B3 from British Blind Sport basically. And then S14 is a category for those with an intellectual impairment, so they may have they may struggle with processing information, memory, pattern recognition and things like that.
And then so in the S11 classification, which we are, that's for swimmers with light perception to no vision. So we compete with blackened goggles on, so it's a level playing field. So if you did have light perception, you didn't have an unfair advantage on someone who doesn't. And then we also have tappers at either end of the pool who's tappers on the back or the head, to signal the wall's coming. So you have a set number of strokes you've agreed with your tapper, like, and that's how far away the wall is, so you know when to initiate your turn and finish.
A tapper is a long stick with like a ball on the end, or like a float sort of thing. So it's like we
have a fishing rod, a telescopic fishing rod that with a tennis ball on the end.
Yeah, and then they either tap you on the head or the back, or depending on like where you want to be tapped, a certain distance from the wall which you've agreed on. So that it's a certain number of strokes away. And then S12 and S13, they get the choice, and then S11 you have to. Yeah.
I see. Do you always have the same tapper, or is it kind of there are just tappers that go to them and then you're kind of assigned one?
You have to have your own tappers, like people and equipment, sort of thing. So at home meets, like at when we race for our club, we've got a whole host of tappers. We've got
all the coaches
at the club, our parents, my brother. Some parents from other swimmers, and also some swimmers themselves have stepped up. One of them had to come out had a race before us, and then they were tapping for us the next race. So it was we're quite lucky where we are. We have quite a lot of people who can do it, and we're fortunate that in training every session we have 2 tappers, so on each end. So we don't have to do like stroke counting or anything. We are fortunate that we do have tappers, and the parents
who volunteer their time to help us. So we have some other para swimmers, their parents do it, and then
that's really helpful because they go to the same competition, so their parents.
And then when we race for Great Britain, then the British team have to tap. So we have coaches or support staff doing it. So sometimes mainly the team managers do it, but most of the GB staff are very proficient tappers because they've done it in training and quite often in competition. So we're quite lucky that everyone has had experience and are willing to do it.
Yeah, always grateful for tappers because can't do it without them. So
and it's a skill.
Yeah, it's a skill. Yeah.
Perfect. How did it feel to be called up to your first Paralympic Games? Talk me through it.
It was very special. It was a very special moment because obviously representing Paralympics GB in your country is a great honour, and
it's the biggest thing you can do in swimming because it's the highest competition you can reach. And with both of us being selected, it's extra special because we've gone through our swimming journey together from learn to swim all the way through the different competition levels, and we train together in the same squad in the same lane every day, so we see how hard each other works. So doing it together is quite special because we've gone on this journey and we're going to go to the biggest competition of our lives together.
So I just think there's excitement and also just genuine excitement.
Because we didn't really believe at the start, like as you said,
we were thought 28 was probably quite possible.
Mm-hmm.
When we first started swimming, we were like Paralympics was never on our radar. But
when
we started swimming internationally and more like on the world class programs, we were like, 28 is a possibility. So to qualify for the 24 Paralympics was a bit of a shock as well because they're like, so soon. We weren't expecting that.
But it's like when we started, as I said, we didn't really have. We just wanted to learn to swim and then just see where it took us. So like making our international debuts was a bit like was like the ultimate dream.
Yeah. So when we did that in 2022, we were like, we need to aim something higher now.
And then to 24, it's like you've reached the top level gala, and now you just like want to swim your best to see where you can be on the ultimate top stage.
Yeah. What are you most looking forward to?
Probably racing other visually impaired athletes from around the world. I love racing like athletes from around the world. I find it really exciting, and at the Paralympics you get to race in your classifications, so to have a whole heat of like S11 athletes will be really, really exciting because we haven't got many S11 athletes in Great Britain like on the current circuit, so we have to look overseas for direct competition. So to have a whole heat of like athletes in the S11 class will just be really exciting.
And I think also having the experience of a multi-sport competition with so many sports and countries there, because when we go to the competitions with Great Britain, it's just swimming and there's only about 500 athletes. So whereas at the Paralympics and the Paralympic Village there's like almost 5,000. So it's almost 10 times the amount of athletes you're used to. And also like 22 different sports, so we never had a multi-sport environment, so many countries in one place. So the athlete village will definitely be an experience.
I'm quite excited.
We try not to get lost.
Cool. So am I right in thinking in some races you'll be racing against each other?
Yeah, potentially. We both qualified for the 400 freestyle.
Okay.
So to get nominated for the games, there's nomination times, and we both achieved nomination times in the 400 free. at the trials meet
see.
at the Aquatics GB Championships in April.
Mhm.
So we both got that. So there's a likelihood that we will be racing at least that together, and then
we can. Scarlett also got a nomination time in the 50 freestyle, and then you sometimes, depending on your rankings in the world, you may be given other events.
So, but we've got quite strong rankings for 200 IM,
so we're hoping to
have
have
the
the 200
potential of
IM
racing
against
each other in the
yeah.
200 IM as well.
I see. And when you race against each other, are you sort of, is it a rivalry? Is it more of like a teamwork thing? Or, I mean, to the extent that you can teamwork in swimming, I don't suppose you really can, but...
Well, before the race and after the race, it's great teammates and it's like teamwork. But then in the race, because it's super competitive, as soon as we get like in the call room, which is
it's all about yourself.
Yeah, just before the race.
Yeah.
It's all about ourselves and winning. But then as soon as you touch the wall and like you finish the race, it's just back to teammates.
So what goes into becoming a Paralympian, and what difficulties have you encountered?
Oh, that's a good question.
So I think like as attributes you need, but if anything really, whether it's like just not to succeed, but to get the
in
best
life in general,
out of whatever you want to do, I think it's like just dedication, determination, because obviously it's not going to be easy, and whatever you do, so especially sport, it's swimming, a lot of hours. You get up early, you go to bed late, you spend weekends on the poolside where you're melting and you push your body to the extreme. So you need dedication, motivation to keep going even when it gets tough.
Enjoy what you do as well, because that's a key thing, because if you don't enjoy it, then you probably won't be as determined or motivated to do it, because
you've got to love what you do.
Yeah,
sure.
Otherwise
it'll be hard.
It's going to be a long
journey
way,
sort of thing.
And if you love it, then that's half the job, half the battle, because you're enjoying what you're doing. So the hours are worth it.
Yeah.
I think challenges for us on like a swimming journey to get here. I think the major challenges from a VI perspective is the initial learning to swim stage is what I think many visually impaired people struggle with to get if they do want to go into competitive swimming, is because we found the group sessions and learn to swim difficult with the group lessons and
having like
instructor on the side
who are confident of trying to teach a visually impaired swimmer to swim.
It wasn't accessible, like it wasn't the most accessible for us, and we were fortunate that our instructor noticed this and was willing to offer the private lessons with us,
and also he was happy to help cater for our visual impairment, because some people might get daunted by it. It might be daunting, and it's like scary to have someone with a visual impairment, because you may not have taught someone with an impairment before, so it'll be a whole new journey for them. So having someone who's open to that is very helpful, but it can also be a challenge to find the right person.
Yeah, so I think that's what you need to be. I think you just need to love what you're doing and have be motivated to where you want to go and what you want to, and to keep enjoying it. And then I think just open with what you think you need to get to where you want to be, and then have the people around you who are willing to help with that,
and just learn as they go along, basically.
Brilliant. What advice would you give to someone looking to take on a new challenge with sight loss?
I'd say you're not limited by the sight loss, because you can achieve whatever you want. You just may have to do it in a different way.
There'll always be a way. If you want to achieve something, there will generally always be a way. You just need to find the right way, and that can be different for anyone. So it's just that way will be unique to you. And even if it's something small that you want to achieve, that's perfectly fine. Also achieving something big, because each goal is different to each person. So try and if you think it's something small but it's big to you, if someone thinks it's small but it's big to you, then it's worth trying to pursue, because if it's big to you, it will mean something to you once you achieve that.
It's just finding the way to get there, and it takes as long or as little time as you need. There's no rush, it's just to get there.
Yeah, it's like you said, you guys were aiming for 2028 and all of a sudden here we are.
So we just started off wanting to learn to swim, but
because we're not doing that competitive,
because we love the sport, and because we're quite competitive naturally anyway. We got into a club, we competed, and you just keep going,
and then you have to just improve your goals sort of thing.
And we just end up here, we're like, well, there you go. You wouldn't tell 10-year-old me that, I wouldn't have believed it.
I'm just happy 50 metres. But so just once you achieve the goal, and if you want more, keep pushing, but if you're happy with that once you've achieved it, then that's equally fine. Everyone's different, and just finding the way to get there, I think, is the key aspect of just enjoyment, really.
Brilliant. Well, thank you both very much again for coming in. And from me and on behalf of everyone here, I know a lot of people will go that they weren't in today to see you guys, but thank you, and best of luck in Paris.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.